Okay, for this video, I'm going to create a Windows Server virtual machine, then connect to it through RDP to install a web server onto it, IIS, Internet Information Services, and let's get started. So Windows Server 2019 Data Center, demo, Windows VM. And I tried previously to do the standard B1s because that's a free size, so I wouldn't use any of my credits, but one VC virtual CPU and 1 gig of memory isn't enough to install IIS, so I'm going to use this size because I tried it in the past and it worked. And you create your login info for the server. Just make it something you can remember. And we're gonna allow RDP so we can connect to it, remote desktop protocol, and leave everything default. So I'm gonna come back to it when it's deployed. Alright, so it's done being deployed. We're gonna go to it. And we're gonna connect to it, RDP. Gonna download the RDP file. Run it, change your account to the login info you made. And so now it's booting up the virtual machine OS, and I'm gonna pause here and come back when it's ready. Alright, so the OS and everything's loaded up. Let's add roles and features to configure the server. Role-based or feature-based installation. This is the virtual machine. And we want a web server, IIS. Add features, we're adding this. And we keep everything else default. Install. And so with this, we'll be able to host a website. So I'll come back. It should take like a minute or two to install. Okay, so it's done. Succeeded installing. You close it, and we can see that it installed in Tools. And you should see IIS Manager. So this is what you use to host a website. So now we go back to Azure. Let's go to our virtual machine, public IP address. Let's try to see what happens. And it's not going to run. And the reason why, it's going to take a little bit, but the reason why is because if you go to networking, remember how we only set up RDP, it's the only port? Well, we need to add another port rule for inbound traffic, and we leave any source, and we could leave the wildcard. Destination the same, but let's add HTTP because it's web traffic, and that's the default one. We could do HTTPS, but let's just do HTTP because it's just for training. Port 80, TCP, allow, and priority, so it's lower priority, so it's going to come first. If we had a lot of rules, then the lower priority ones are what get run first, and we'll just call it port 80 as a rule. Added it. It didn't run. And after this, security rule is added to, alright, it's added. Now we'll try again. Alright, it didn't apply yet. Alright, that's weird. Alright, let's see what I messed up. 480, HTTP allow. Looks good. I'll pause and come back when the rules apply. Alright, it's working, so I'm going to show it again. And so this is the same public IP. And this is the default web page of IIS. Cool. And so now I'm going to show you, let's have a little fun. Let's go back to server and let's change up the default homepage of IIS. Or not the default, I'll make HTML. So saving this Notepad file into the C drive of server, and inetpub is IIS directory, www.root, and change it to all files to make an HTML file. It's called default.html. We're going to save it to here. Cool, it's done. Now what's going to happen is when we change this to default.html, it's going to run that code. See, there's another web page. So if you like to play around with that, you can on your web server. But that's about it for that. So that's how to install a web server on a Windows virtual machine.